Hello, hello, and thank you to all of you who are coming in tonight for our very special prosperity presentation. I am Cheyenne Kramer. This is my better half.
Don Kramer. Hello, everyone. We have a treat for you tonight.
Oh my goodness, we do, we do. And Sabriya is kind of our hidden member of We Care Partnerships. This gal, you're going to understand why. She is on the run. I don't know how she manages to do two businesses and work on a PhD at the same time. And I see ridiculous numbers of pictures of her at Disney World. How does she fit that in? I don't even have a clue. But anyway, yeah, maybe she's got a clone or a cousin that looks like her. I don't know. But anyway, we are so honored to have Sabriya Charles with us tonight. And Sabriya, please, we definitely got some people here that are already hopped in and watching tonight, so we're glad for that. And if you have questions during the presentations, you should be able to put it in the comments, and we should be able to see it. It says I need her energy. Yes, we all need her energy. She's going to give it to you tonight, without a doubt. So if anybody has any questions or comments for Sabriya, if you put them in the chat, we'll see them. We'll let her know. We'll make sure that you get your questions answered. But Ms. Sabriya, please tell people a little bit about you and all this business activity you got going on.
Cheyenne and Don, thank you so much for having me. I am literally probably a little out of my mind to even think that I was going to jump into all these things, but life just kind of happens that way. And so just to kind of give a little background, I was this overachiever person running around like a chicken with their head cut off, trying to figure out their career in my college time. And when I graduated, I didn't know what was going on. So marketing careers, working in higher ed careers, animal health careers later, here I am working in the therapy field, and I have never been happier. Sometimes you have to kiss the frogs to find the prince of your life. And I really do believe I'm blessed to have a real prince, but I also have found the prince by finding purpose in all that I do. And so I actually run two companies. So one of my companies I run is Project Passport. That was my first company. Started back in 2019, right before the pandemic, because that's my life. Had no idea what I was doing. We were going to be doing travel retreats and helping people be motivated and be supported in their journeys, particularly women. Well, when you start a company in 2019, y'all know what 2020 brings. So we had our first retreat booked to Kenya, lost everything, had to cancel it all and start completely over. And so that happened and I had to figure it out. And we ended up moving to the virtual route. And that was a really big change for us. But we really learned to dominate the space. We changed the space. Virtual retreats had not really been done. Virtual lectures and boring events had happened, but not interactive, fun, engaging wellness like I decided to bring to the space. So it has been a wonderful journey. I have a team of about 12 of us, and we are just running and moving. I actually had a retreat virtually today, and it was a good session. So every year we grow. We have grown exponentially each year, which I'm so grateful for. And it goes to show that sometimes you can have a plan that, you have all in your head and this is what I'm going to do. And by doggone it, this is going to happen. I know we all been there. Cheyenne and Don, y'all are laughing probably because y'all know you have that in your head. I'm going to do this and this is what's going to happen. And guess what? God says, what you talking about? Hold up. You think you got this? You think you got control over this? That's what happened to me. And that's what happens to all of us, right? And so now as we speak, as of September-ish last year, I also now run a therapy practice by accident. So here's the skinny. The main thing is I originally thought I was going to work for another therapy firm when I graduated. I was dead set. I was like, God, I'm working for this therapy practice. I'm not stressing myself out. I'm going to get my hours into somebody. The way things worked out, negotiations fell through and how we wanted to do things. And the push was to start my own practice. I said, God, what are you talking about? I already run a business. How am I going to do this? And here I sit running a therapy practice, doing all kinds of great things, serving clients, growing slowly but surely, contracting out, doing therapy groups for young adults and children through contracting, and still running Project Passport. And then what I don't know what thing fell from the sky and decided to tell me to start a PhD, but it did. And here I am also starting a PhD program this year, which has been nothing but amazing. Yes, it's work, but I have been so excited. I'm in a PhD program for counselor education and supervision, and that has changed my life because it's really given me the opportunity to do what I do best, change the field of mental health, to innovate the field. I'm going to be creating new theories, new styles, new approaches to treat because look, we're behind. The healthcare space is living back in the 1950s and beyond, and we're here trying to navigate a pandemic, and the world is changing, so the way we treat people needs to change. So that's a nutshell.
Pretty big nutshell, but by gosh, it is a nutshell.
Here we are.
Oh my God. Well, and and if I remember correctly, because we gave you the title of her book as this presentation tonight, Purpose Doesn't Care What's in Your Bank Account. And I was trying to find my copy of the book. It had gotten all kind of bent and torn because I've been looking at it so many times. There it is. So on top of that, she writes a book. Good Lord have mercy. But what's really interesting is that the book really came about, it seems like, as a result of how you had to turn things around during the pandemic. Is that correct?
That's right. So when I wrote this book, it was one of those things that it was almost like a ode to myself of Sabriya, get it together. It was something that I felt that God was putting on me to just help me navigate this journey. It became sort of almost like a manual for myself in order to navigate business and navigate it in a time of uncertainty. One of the things I think people think is when you start a business, you'll have control over everything. Like, oh my gosh, I'm getting my time back. I'm having control of everything. I'm going to run the show. But the funny thing is, when you really, really run a business, you have no real element of control. You can't control if that client's going to work with you or not. You can hope, you can do all the best you can, but you have to have faith that somebody is going to touch that client's heart to give you the opportunity. So I've come to learn that it's not about having control, but it's about allowing yourself to really walk in your purpose, allowing yourself to walk in what God has set you to do. And it changes things when you kind of free yourself from trying to be in control. It does work out. Now, there are perks of flexibility in running a business, but for me, it was really a book to just tell my story and hopefully inspire other people to let them know that you don't have to do this alone. You can co-create this process with God, and you can do this and be successful at it.
I love that. I love that. And of course, here's the other way you make God laugh. You tell him, I'm the CEO of the company, right? What is it that you ended up doing?
Yes. And so originally, I'm not going to lie, when I first started, I was like, Sabriya, you're going to figure this all out. You got this. You're just so brilliant. You're just so amazing. Like, you're going to figure it all out, which I am. All those great things. I'm brilliant. I'm amazing. I believe it. I can toot my horn. However, I came to understand that when I allowed God to be in the forefront of my company, to really be the CEO, it really took a lot of pressure off me. I always think of it now when I pray and when I think about my business. I pray that God will touch the right people that I'm supposed to work with. I can't force anybody to decide to work with me or not. It's going to take them being able to have that volition to want to decide to work with me. And that goes across all the work that I do. It's being confident that I have what it takes to deliver and to do what I do. Yes, amen. I mean, it's the absolute truth. It is a lot of these things are beyond you. And so one of the things that I would do is, instead of sitting here and toiling over all these ideas and making myself anxious, I would sit down and pray and say, God, give me profound and unique ideas that are going to help me transform if I get myself in a rut. Lord, give me something new. Give me something exciting that I can be able to move forward from. And so instead of just expecting myself to come up with everything, I pray. I spend time marinating, meditating, all those things in prayer in the word. And it really has helped me navigate my business. Now, I don't always get it right every time. Some days I wake up checking emails, jumping on the grind. And there's moments where I have to say, wait, okay, God, look, this is the thing I'm anxious about. Please take the wheel. I don't know what's going on. This is changing. These clients are canceling, whatever that is. Help me navigate where to go next. I'm in a really big transformational place in my life right now, because now that I run these two companies, I started my PhD, I still have to manage a household. I have a spouse that I want to spend time with. I mean, y'all love birds. Y'all are always together and spending quality time together. My spouse and I work from home. But it's so important to be able to make time for each other. And that is so important for me. And so it's more than just my business. It's also being able to create time to go to Disney all the time, like we do, and Universal. So I have set boundaries that I have created. And just like the Bible talks about, boundaries are important. Jesus had boundaries. And I think people forget that, right? We should also have boundaries in our lives and have boundaries in how we're giving to others, because we have to preserve our spark, preserve our energy, our fire. Because if you allow yourself to fizzle out, which I've done multiple times, it's pointless, because then you'll never be able to deliver the caliber that God has created you to deliver. So that's why I work hard, play harder, probably a little too hard sometimes, but I play hard. But I also come home and I bring it, and I kill it every single time and give it all I got. So that's all you can do.
That is all you can do.
Good.
Now, of course, the title of your book, this is our Beating Inflation Entrepreneurship Prosperity group that we're in here tonight. Title of your book might lead somebody to think that there's been a time or two when the bank account, you were going, okay, God, what's up? Care to share a story?
Look, okay. So financials are so complicated. There's so many gurus out there. I'm not going to lie. There's always someone who thinks they can give you the best financial advice. And it's not to say, there's people that are trained across the board. There's so many messages out there. It can be overwhelming. You could literally find a YouTube video that tells you why you should take out credit, and another video that tells you why it's a horrible idea to take out credit. You can find a video that says why it's good to have 6 months of savings, another video that says why it's a dumb idea to have so much savings. It's the truth. We're so inundated with all this information about money. And so one of the things I've come to find is that if I allowed the world to dictate how I approach my financials or how I approach things, then I'm going to always feel like I don't have enough. I'm going to always feel a sense of scarcity. Scarcity is something that I think in some ways I get it. Like, don't get me wrong. Some people are truly struggling. I'm grateful to be in a dual income household. I have a support system. But at the end of the day, I understand that scarcity in some elements can be a mindset in how we approach our lives. If we believe that there'll never be enough, if we constantly walk into situations where we feel like we're going to always, there's been times where my runway was this close. And I was like, if we don't close another contract for a business, we don't know if Project Passport going to still happen. But through prayer and believing that God's going to supply me that next month, it always happens. Somehow our runway still survived. And it's countless times that I can tell you all that. And so I do believe that when you truly walk in what God has made you to do, He will find provision for you. And it will be in ways you least expect. There have been times, I remember this past year, I had a contract that was not working out like I was hoping. It was just not working out. Well, it's 2 times. I'm actually give y'all another time. There's one that I'll probably put in my next book, but y'all get a little preview. So the one recently, it was a contract that I was doing was not working out. Our service collaboration just wasn't happening like I was hoping. And we still fulfilled it. We finished it out. And while it was really disheartening, because we kind of felt like, gosh, this really wasn't what we do. It was kind of like a accessory service that we offer. It wasn't really true to what we are. At the end of that service, that client actually referred us to a big client. And it was like a 5-figure contract that closed within a day, because they were like, oh gosh, we need a wellness person. We need to spend this grant money. That was that. And it's more than just about the dollar amount, but it just goes to show that you have to have faith that God is going to open doors for you for the right opportunity. At the time, that was the wrong opportunity for us, but somehow that wrong opportunity resulted in an open door for the right opportunity. And we literally now are fulfilling that contract with the new client, which has been awesome. So the thing is, I could have dragged my feet and went to that contract that I wasn't wanting to do and not delivered and been lazy, but we came in and we gave it all we had. And fortunately, it showed to the client. Even though we knew we weren't a great fit for the service, they still saw us valuable to refer us. So it goes to show that you have to show up and do well at all you do. God says that in the Bible. I talk about that in my book. Do your best. Even if you're just doing the simplest task, do it with vigor, do it with happiness, do it with joy, because the other side will come. The sun will rise. And then I look back. I'm going to tell y'all a story. I remember my first big contract opportunity. It was a big one. It was like $50,000 at the time. It was like a long-term, year-long contract. I felt like I was just on top of the moon. I busted my tail doing the it's a RFI request. No, it's RFLOI, something like that. Request for proposal. It was a government-based contract. I was just so excited. I was like, oh my gosh, my team and I worked hours. I'm telling y'all, hours to do this contract, to put it together, to submit it. A couple months later, or weeks or so, I've been staring at my email, staring at my email, staring at my email, staring at my email, staring at my email. I get the email. Congratulations, you got the contract. You know, we're going to have you come in and you're going to service our team and help bring in wellness. We're going to do emotional intelligence, helping people how to have those, they call them soft skills. I don't think they're soft skills, but they call them the soft skills to help them thrive, right? So being able to interact with well-being, be able to communicate effectively, things like that. Well, after the contract was confirmed, I would say within a few short weeks, that contract was also canceled. Because it turned out that there was something happened in the company, and there was new management, and they decided that they didn't want to invest in that anymore. The new management came in. It was devastating. And I'm not gonna lie, I cried, I struggled. It took me a long time to let that go, because I felt like a failure. I felt like I let my team down. I felt like I let everybody down. I mean, imagine my team all excited because they know that we're going to have work. It's going to be consistent work. Because that was the main prayer I had to God. I said, God, we have these great one-offs because people were booking their wellness things. But a lot of companies are still learning the importance of ongoing wellness programming, which we're moving into with a lot of our clients. And so we're looking at building these long-term contracts to really support their team on an ongoing basis. Well, it was devastating. So we lost everything. I mean, I had put money into preparing for this contract. I mean, I had already, prepped my team, and we were getting training and doing all kinds of things. And I thought that was the end of my road, to be frankly honest. Let me tell y'all, I think it was maybe a few months later, within 6 to 8 months, I would say, we got a contract that was actually, I think, that amount or more, but for like less than half the time's worth of work.
Wow.
So imagine doing a year's contract, because at the time, when you're first starting, you don't know your rates, you don't know what you're trying to do. I was able to lock in that same amount, if not more, in one of the clients, in a combination of clients we work with in long-term work, and it worked out. And so I tell that story. It's not about the dollars, it's not about the money. I mean, you run a business, you don't take home all that. If anybody knows about running a business, you don't take home every little penny, right? You got a team, you got all kinds of things that come with it. So you need that gross amount. You need that number in order to be able to have a decent bottom line. But at the end of the day, I came to find that, God that wasn't my opportunity. It took me a long time to get that. But God, when he has a purpose for you, you may feel like, hey, I have nothing in my account. God, we are on the edge here. He knows what's better for you. He will provide you an opportunity that is beyond. Now, I'm not going to say you can't work. You got faith without work is dead, right? We know that. But it's two levels of work. It's the prayer, it's the faith work, but it's also the work in the world, right? Doing the work of marketing, doing the work of putting yourself out there. I have come to find that most of my clients have come from me just being at the right place, right time, right situation. Not forcing myself through the door, not banging myself through the door. God's already dealt with all that. He's just setting me up for the right people, the right situation. And so, as I said, most of my clients are word of mouth. At this point, we have not put a single dollar into standard advertising. And it's probably been for a year or more now where we have not put a dollar into advertising. We do podcasts, we do all kinds of other little things and blogs and free content. But for us, in regards to raw advertising, we don't do that because it's not what our brand is about, and it's not that what we have to do. And I see the comment, convincing companies into a regular wellness program, not just fun, at one-time event has been a challenge. Absolutely. It is very hard because we're trying to change a narrative, right? Companies back in the day, they could just throw a pizza party. Everybody be quiet. Here's your pizza party. Now go back to work.
Yep.
The world's changing. People need that support. People need that to know that their company cares about them, or they will leave. People know that there's options now, and companies are having to change how they show up for their team, and it shows. And we're doing that work. We're doing that work as we speak.
I love it. I love it.
It's cool.
You're on the front end. You're on the bleeding edge of creating that change, and I'm so glad for it, because I know, I mean, and especially since the pandemic, you know, I think so many people just came unglued in so many ways, and you know, we got to help people put their thought processes, their emotional well-being back into the right space, without a doubt. I was just thinking about your book, and I remember one of the things that's so cool about your book is, you know, you tell your stories and the different things that you've been through, but then you always have this section. It was something like God tips. Is that what you call it?
Yes, God plus business tip. Yes.
Give us one of those.
Oh my gosh, I gotta think of the one I like the best. Oh my gosh, let me think. I'm looking here now because I just reread it the other day. And I like highlighted all up in this thing. And let me see. So each chapter of my book, just for those who are curious, each chapter of my book has a God plus business tip. And it's just something that I think of that you might want to like type up and print out, or put on your wall, just a tip to kind of help you stay grounded, right? You know, and I think that, you know, each chapter has a different story, has a different focus. You know, I talk about things such as being able to have discernment. That's going to be a crucial tool in your business. I talk about things like allowing God to help guide you in your business, understanding that your business is not about you. It's about those you serve. It's about those you lead. I talked about in the book about how it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Getting out of that mind state of scarcity, or if this happens, but believing that God has already accrued a path for you, created a path for you in your journey. And so I guess I'm trying to think of something that from what is going on right now, I think that there's a lot of unknown. And I've come to find one of the tips I gave in chapter 9, because chapter 9 actually focuses on not looking back. I think that with COVID, a lot of us kept looking back, and I spent a long time trying to look back, right? Okay, but you know, when we get back to normal, when we get this, we are in a new normal. It's a new world. And so one of the tips that I gave at the end of that chapter, as I talked about the importance, and I actually shared a whole story about looking back and how we could turn to a pillar of salt. So you got to read the chapter to know what I'm talking about. You'll see. And the statement that I gave was, your destiny lies in everything you don't know. That's the quote that I gave. And the tip that I gave was, avoid the illusion of chasing happiness in what you know. Happiness is in what you do not know, because that is where God dwells. He wants to challenge you to take chances with him. He wants you to trust the future he has prepared. God does not reside in your old ways. And as he is committed to renewing your mind, he says so in the Bible. And I think that statement, I hope, inspires you all to remember that it's very easy to return to our old ways. It's really easy to go back because it felt easier. I mean, I could go back to old Sabriya if I really wanted to. I could, you know, get myself a regular job. I could give up my therapy practice and work for someone else and do all these things. And I know this path I'm taking is the harder path. It's in the unknown. I don't always know what my bank account's gonna look like tomorrow, next week, next month. I have to figure out sometimes how to make payroll depending on when funds are coming in based on contracts. But I choose that unknown every single day. And it's a choice that I have lived to just be so grateful for, because it makes me grateful for every moment. I might not know tomorrow's moment, but I'm grateful for today's moment right now. I'm grateful to be alive. I'm grateful to share space. I'm grateful to be able to inspire people. I'm grateful to give hope, even if it's just a little bit. And that's what I've come to remember, is that sometimes we're so worried about what we don't know. But if you know that God lives there, then you know that you're safe.
It's true. And it's so funny to listen to you talk about some of these things, because people are always asking us, well, where are you guys off to next? And we go, we ain't been told yet.
That is the best. The best.
Yeah, that's how we live. So we totally get it. And I love the fact that you talked about the word discernment, because I think God will help us discern what's right for us in every situation if we ask, because that's the kicker. You're right. It doesn't matter. You can go on the internet and you can find a for and against anything, from coffee to, you know, whatever. It's, you know, and so you have to check in with God. You have to check in with yourself to see what's right for you. And I think you do that so well.
Yeah, I mean, it's so beyond the worldly stuff. I think as people, if you really depended on what the world was doing, yep, tomorrow you'll like the color blue, today you'll like the color purple, next week you'll like the color green. There are so many things being thrown at us. We're inundated with, I mean, I could find an article about why coffee is bad for you, why it's great for you, why tea is bad for you, why it's great for you. You can find so many things. So you have to be able to have something beyond all this that is anchored outside of this to help you navigate, because this world, it's overwhelming. I talk about my book, Chaos and Confusion and Fear. They dwell in this world and they love to live with you. And fear loves to live under the veil. It wants to hide so that you start acting out of fear and don't realize it. That's one of the things that I've come to learn is, when am I acting out of fear and when am I acting out of strength? So many times when I make decisions, I think about, Sabriya, is this a decision out of fear, or am I making this decision out of strength? And I encourage you to ask yourself that sometimes in situations, because oftentimes we do things because we're really trying to preserve ourselves. We're really afraid. So maybe we play a little smaller and we don't do those things because we're afraid we're going to fail. And we have a habit of doing that. So I encourage you to ask yourself that when you're in situations, and to just remember that you have to have yourself anchored beyond this world, because this world, it will drive you right to chaos and confusion. Truly, if you really let it.
It is the truth. And, you know, I try to help people remember all the time, fear and faith cannot exist in the same space. So, you know, you get to choose, and choose wisely is what I usually tell people.
Oh yeah. I love that. I love that. It is so true. And I believe that we all find ourselves, I kind of think of it as the ocean, right? So the ocean tide. Sometimes, you know, you ever been as a kid to the beach and you're swimming in the ocean, and then you realize, like, how the heck did I even get this far? The tides done pushed me out this far, and I done got lost. I mean, I was just right here by the coast, but the tides slowly push you out. And that's kind of what happens with our relationship with God. And that's kind of what happens with our peace that we carry, is that we sometimes get pushed out and we don't even realize it. It just slowly we stop praying. Slowly we stop reading the Bible, or slowly we stop doing things to fortify us. We stop reading books to help us, you know, fortify our faith and our walk. And we stop doing those things. And then we find ourselves out there in the chaos of the ocean, the sharks, and we're like, whoa, how did I get here? And so you have to reel yourself in. You have to swim back to the shore and get yourself back on track so that you're able to navigate. Because and I don't want to sit here and say that I always have it together. There's times that I like, oh, my anxiety, it's happening. Whoa. But I have a partner that supports me and keeps me accountable to hold myself, pull myself back in place. And I also say, Sabriya, wait, that's not how you function. You don't do that. We don't function from that place of fear and anxiety. We function from a place of strength. We function from a place in knowing that it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when the next opportunity comes in your life.
There you go. I gotta love it. Dearest, do you have any questions for Miss Sabriya?
Well, I think people need to know how to get hold of you.
And how to get a hold of that book.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. So my book is actually available across most avenues. You can go to like Walmart.com. I think I'm on Barnes and Nobles, on Amazon, all the standard book distributions. However, I do offer limited signed copies from time to time. So if you really specifically want a signed copy directly from me, it's a little more expensive because I ship directly from myself. However, you can visit SabriyaDobbins.com or SabriyaCharles.com. Long story short, I'm in the process of changing my last name. I've been with my hubby for a long time. We're like at a decade, but we got married officially last year. And he has been like, Sabriya, when are you going to actually go and do the work to change your name? It's been very inconvenient running these businesses and all these things. Hey, Jackie. Yes. By the way, one of my wonderful supporters and my wonderful friends, Jackie, is actually in the book. And I share how she was a big part of my turning point in this journey of, you need people. Let me let you know that now. You need people who are in your corner. You need people who can keep your faith alive. God always encourages you to have a community, and it's so crucial. So people like Cheyenne and Dawn, and having that community of people who are believers and who will pray for you and support you is crucial. Sorry, I got on a tangent, got excited. But SabriyaCharles.com, SabriyaDobbins.com, both of them are me. Eventually I'll be Sabriya Charles when I get there. So it's my stage name for now. Legally, Sabriya
Stage name.
Everybody, just go get the book.
Oh yeah, just go get the book. Because it really is a good book for anybody in business, anybody who understands the power of, you know, putting your heart and soul into your business. That's what we tell people all the time in We Care Partnerships, is we're all about putting heart and soul back into business. And you're doing that so well. And we applaud you. We're so excited for you, all the things that you've got going on. And we are absolutely blessed and honored that you take time out to hang with us once in a while. And we're going to get to see you next week. Yay!
I know. I'm so glad you're able to meet me on my side of the rocks, because it's been it's like when I had to jump in the car and go anywhere, I'm like, Lord, because Orlando and this whole area is just trying to get used to the traffic. You know, coming from North Carolina, things are so different out here.
It is.
Yes, I love that. Giving spiritual currency. That is so crucial. I think people undervalue the importance of spiritual currency. It is so true. It's so much more than the dollar. I'm telling y'all, when you can gain a sense of peace through that, it changes everything for you. And it's beyond the pleasures of the world, to be truly honest. It's an immense ongoing sense of joy. But yeah, I mean, I'm just grateful to be able to have y'all come on my way, on my side, because ain't much over here, but it's going to still be a nice, peaceful time together.
There we go. That works.
Cool.
Well, do you have a final tidbit of just that wonderful Sabriya wisdom that you can leave everybody with tonight, other than get the book? Yeah,
yes. So it's funny, in one of my last chapters of the book, I talked about my grandpa and how he was a track star. Like, he was he loved running track, and he used to always tell me, Sabriya, like, you know, and I talk about this in the book, so you can read a little bit more of it. He'd be like, Sabriya, you know, when I used to run, I remember I used to feel like I could fly. And I was like, Granny, what are you talking about? When I was a kid, I'm like, this man's like crazy. Like, I don't even know what he's talking about. Like, fly. Like, what is this? Like what? And years later, he told me the same story, because that's what grandparents do. Sometimes they repeat the stories, and you're like, you know, like, I'm like, you told me this like a billion times, but it's never a problem. I always love to hear it again. And he said that to me, but this time I got it. The fact that he believed he could fly. And I do believe when you're doing the right thing in that right moment, and your purpose in that space and time, you truly fly. Your spirit man, I like to call it, or spirit woman, truly flies, truly flourishes. It's a freedom that's beyond the physical body. And I get that now. So when you're in the right place, right time, doing the right thing for the right reasons, and it's just something about that. And so I encourage you to feed your spirit man or woman whenever it gets low, and try to put yourself in those places where you're doing the right thing, right time, right place, right space, because it gives you so much freedom and hope and happiness, regardless of your situation or your circumstance. You know, life's not always good for any of us. We all have our obstacles. We all have our things that we're going through, but there's something about feeding that spirit man or woman that really gives you a freedom that you will never, ever experience in your human flesh, to be frankly honest. That's how I feel.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, that is a beautiful way to close us out this evening, Sabriya. We appreciate you so much for being here. And for folks that have been here, if you've enjoyed this tonight, invite other people into our We Care group. We want people to see this recording. And we also have a YouTube channel. So if you're out there on our YouTube channel, please like it. Please comment on it. Please let people know. Share this video from YouTube and let people know exactly how wonderful that Sabriya is. So thank you, my dear. You have an awesome night, and we'll be seeing you soon.
Thank you all.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.